Welcome, gentle listener. I am Voldemort, and I wish to introduce you to the factions of the Warhammer 40K universe. Today, allow me to introduce the faction known as the Ghosts of the Webway, of the Harlequins. Let us lean on existing lore before I draw it all together at the end, which, trust me, you will not want to miss. Swift beyond belief and impossibly agile, Harlequins flow through battle like silk streamers in a hurricane. As they close with a flow, the players are in constant motion, a riot of prismatic colour that dazzles the senses. The oncoming Harlequins sprint, leap and weave. The blades and blasts of their terrified enemy whistle around them to little effect. Harlequins in battle prefer to rely upon speed and skill than brute strength and resilience. Their hollow suits shatter the wearer's outline into a fractal, polychromatic blur, causing each Harlequin to appear as an insubstantial storm of psychedelic colour into which the panicked foe pour their fire to no avail. At the moment of lethal impact, however, the Harlequins prove all too real. The thunder of gunfire is their backbeat, the screams of the dying their accompaniment, as they whirl towards the enemy ranks. Every step of the battle is like a dance, each victim as much an unwilling partner as a mortal foe. Blade thrusts come lightning fast, sparks and blood raining down as their enemies try desperately to block their attackers' offensive. All the while the enemy wrestles with their worst fears reflected back at them in the Harlequins' ever-shifting masks. Where a single Harlequin in battle is a player upon a stage, an entire army of them is a performing company with a bloody tale to tell. Known as masks, these warbands fight with breathtaking synchronicity. Troops of Harlequins sprint across the battlefield, surging from hidden webway portals to strike without warning. Skyweaver jetbike crews engage the foe in an acrobatic ballet, streaking above the heads of the enemy to hurl spinning star bowlers. Explosions blossom one after another. Their roar a deafening crescendo, accompanied by the howl of Starweaver transports and Voidweaver gunships opening fire. Amidst the mayhem, the Mask's elite choreograph the carnage. Each troop master directs their players with the skill of an impresario and the strategic genius of a seasoned general. Death jesters send volleys of fire to cut down key targets, always with an eye to what crucial humour they can find in the kill. Enigmatic shadow weavers use their phantasmic powers to terrify and misdirect, drowning the enemy in nightmare visions, and should one of the dreaded solitaires deign to join a battle, they can slaughter entire regiments in impossible displays of martial prowess. To the untrained eye, the onset of a Harlequin's mask is a riotous confusion of sound, colour and violence. Yet to refined Eldar eye senses, clear patterns are revealed. Every moment is orchestrated, every player knows implicitly how and when their comrades will strike. This is war made art, and art made war. Battle fought with perfect rhythm and meaning. The Harlequins are superlative battlefield artists, yet they are more than just warriors. Every Harlequin is a devoted servant of Segara, the Laughing God, the only Eldar deity said to have survived the birth of Slaanesh. While depicted as an enigmatic and sinister trickster whose deeds are far from altruistic, Segara is also the sworn enemy of the dark gods of chaos, and of Slaanesh in particular. It was Slaanesh, known to the Eldar as She Who Thirsts, who destroyed their ancient empire and doomed their peoples to a slow and torturous decline. Thus the Harlequins are forced to exact Segara's vengeance upon Slaanesh for millennia. They strike without warning, wreaking devastation before vanishing as suddenly as they came. The Harlequins have slaughtered zealous cults, assassinated mighty chaos champions, and undone countless foul plans before they could manifest. Sometimes these actions have saved the worlds of other races, most commonly of humanity. But there is no kindness in the Harlequins' deeds. They are every bit as ineffable as the deity they worship. And if they are concerned with the survival of any species in the galaxy, ultimately it is their own. The duty of the masks extend beyond warfare. Every Harlequin is a performer, versed in the mythic cycles of the Eldar and the countless allegorical tales that stem from them. The masks travel endlessly through the interstitial dimension known as the Webway, moving between craft worlds, exodite worlds, and the dark city of Komora. Wherever they go, the Harlequins ply their performing arts, combining music, dance, ritual combat, nuanced oration, and a breathtaking suite of illusionary and psychoactive effects to captivate the Eldar. The Harlequins perform for more than mere entertainment. Every show they put on is a lesson and a cautionary tale, a fragment of the culture of the ancient Eldar presented as a reminder and a warning to their modern descendants. The most important dance that the Harlequins perform is the tale of the Fall, the monstrous spiritual apocalypse during which Slaanesh was birthed and the Eldar all but annihilated. Their vivid performances ensure that the horrors of that time will never be forgotten, and its mistakes never repeated. The Harlequins have other duties also. They stalk the webway, seeking to excise the taint of chaos and alien invasion wherever it is found. They guard the vast repository of forbidden lore known as the Black Library, preventing its dangerous secrets from falling into the hands of those who would do great harm with them. The Harlequins also act as ambassadors, for they alone can travel freely through all of the mesnes of the Eldar. When needs must, the Harlequins have brokered uneasy deals between the Azuyani of the Croft Worlds and the Dukari of Komorah, bidding their kin put aside their differences in order for the future. Now, though, the Harlequins face a new peril. The webway, always a fractured and hazardous realm, has been sorely damaged by the opening of the Great Rift. Alien invaders and chaos-worshipping interlopers spill through its sundered gate in numbers never seen before, endangering all that Harlequins are and all they strive to achieve. As the danger grows greater, so the masks become ever more vicious and manipulative, calling in favours long owed and committing whatever atrocities they must in the name of the Laughing God. The Harlequins have a higher purpose, a final act they mean to see performed in full to the eternal detriment of she who thirsts, and they will pay whatever blood price they must in order to see their work complete. The Fall of the Eldar. Long ago, in a time turned to dust and echoes, the Eldar ruled the stars. The galaxy was theirs to lord over and to explore as they saw fit, and no enemy existed that they could not vanquish with ease. Their rule seemed destined to last in perpetuity. Yet it all came to an end in a single moment of unimaginable horror. The golden age of the Eldar began in a time before humanity had even discovered the gift of fire. Their elegant fleets plied the void, acquiring world after world for the Eldar Empire and sweeping aside any that dared defy them. They possessed unparalleled mastery of the webway, the labyrinth dimension whose tunnels spread across the galaxy like the capillaries of a living being, allowing the Eldar to cross the stellar void in a matter of days. Armed with technology so sublimely powerful that they seemed like sorcery, possessed of wisdom beyond the ken of any other living race, the Eldar soon stood in mastery over much of the galaxy. In that time, the Eldar lived fulfilling lives, safe in the knowledge that their deaths were but doorways into the next rebirth and another long and pleasurable span of existence. They knew neither fear nor privation, for their technologies were so advanced that they could ignite or extinguish stars on a whim, and any manual hardship their race had ever known was no longer a concern. Freed from the constraints of toil and mortality, possessed of psyches that could experience extremes of emotion and sensation far beyond those known by most beings, the ancient Eldar were free to pursue their every inclination. Art, science, literature, performance, philosophy, and myriad other disciplines became their fascination, as did the unburdened and uninhibited exploration of sensory input and hedonism. The Eldar had always worshipped a broad pantheon of powerful deities, enshrining their symbolism and teaching within every aspect of their daily lives. Yet gradually, as their power became truly unassailable, and the universe surrendered its secrets to them one at a time, the Eldar began to suffer from delusions of their own functional omnipotence. Their worship of the gods waned, replaced by narcissism and devotion to self-proclaimed prophets of sensation and pleasure. The magnificent minds of the Eldar began to consume themselves. Fascination became obsession, nobility curdled into arrogance, and a gradual rot of the soul took hold. The corruption spread slowly, a decline spanning millennia during which the Eldar became an indolent and self-obsessed people, driven by a singular desire for ever greater and more intense acts of self-gratification. From artistic endeavours that exceeded the boundaries of sanity and safety, to obsessive perfectionism that ended in terrible bloodshed, to the insidious rise of the pleasure cults, the civilization of the ancient Eldar spiraled downwards into darker and more obscene depths. Blood ran red in the streets. Grinning murderers haunted the shadows. Unspeakable horrors were wrought in the name of experience and enlightenment, and the Eldar gods could do nothing but watch and rage and weep. The warp is a dark and dangerous realm that lays behind the skin of real space. It is an endless, formless ocean of energy in which malefic entities hunt, and whose infinite canvas is shaped by the emotions and desires of mortal minds. It was from a slow accretion of these energies that the Chaos God Khorne, Nurgle, and Tzeentch had been born, and for all their knowledge the Eldar failed to realize that their frenzied plunge into depravity was bringing a new deity into being. The proto-entity that would become Slaanesh coalesced slowly, suckling upon the wanton cruelty and psychotic overindulgence of the Eldar. The warning signs were there, for those who still retained sufficient grasp on reality to see them. The first to act upon these were the Exodites, who set off in tribes to inhabit far-flung idols, known as Maiden Worlds. These Exodites were mocked by the majority of the Eldar, for they eschewed much of their race's supreme technologies, and returned instead to a simpler and more spiritual way of life. Yet the Exodites alone would wholly avoid the horror that was to follow. The next escapees were the Croft Wallis, those who would come to be known as the Asuryani. These were the Eldar who pulled back from the brink of damnation, fleeing the death throes of their twisted empire, as their parent society grew ever more depraved. They fled aboard vast arks known as Croft Worlds, planet-sized vessels that were each a self-sufficient realm. Of those who remained in the webway, the most debased were the forebears of the Drukhari. Eschewing both repentance and escape, they instead sought hidden sanctuaries within which to continue their debauched practices. These Eldar crafted subrealms within the webway and ruled over them like malicious gods. The sanctuaries would not wholly spare them, but nor would they face the full and terrible consequences of an apocalypse that they had done much to cause. Glutted upon an endless psychic outpouring of lust, cruelty, obsession, and pain, Slaanesh at last burst into being as a fully formed chaos god. Its birth scream was a psychic maelstrom, an apocalyptic shockwave of hellish energies that raced out across the Eldar Empire and blasted the souls of its denizens from their bodies. It devoured them all in a gluttonous orgy, growing stronger and more monstrous with every mote of life energy it consumed. Blazing with unholy power, Slaanesh set upon the Eldar pantheon, destroying and devouring each deity in turn. Only Segara is said to have escaped, slipping into the labyrinth webway, even as Slaanesh battled mighty Kayla Menshur Kane. In a heartbeat, the glorious empire of the Eldar had been transformed into a twisted realm of blasted ghost worlds, a place where the infernal energies of the warp spilled out into real space. Only scattered refugees survived, paltry fragments of a once great people now doomed to a slow decline towards extinction. The Exodites, the Drukhari, the Asuryani, and the Harlequins were all that remained of their race, and all were forced to live with the knowledge that she who thirst would hunt their souls for all eternity. Each faction found their own way to preserve their souls from Slaanesh, to carry on and survive in a galaxy rendered suddenly hostile and terrifying. None realized, as they strove for meaning, for strength or for simple survival, that they had borne the seeds of vengeance with them into the galactic hinterlands. The Harlequins of the Laughing God had been first and foremost performers within the society of the ancient Eldar. As that society collapsed, they had held to the teachings of their deity, becoming ever more capable of defending them by force and bearing them out into the galaxy aboard craft worlds and Exodite ships, or within the shielded Cormorite subrealms. Now the Harlequins answered the call of Segura, the only surviving Eldar deity, and prepared to exact bloody revenge upon Slaanesh and all its foul get. Segura. The Harlequins worship a being known as Segura, the Laughing God, also called the First Fool or the Great Harlequin. Segura is a trickster god, by turns mocking, sinister, vindictive, and enigmatic. His pranks punish gods and mortals alike for overweening pride, and stories such as the theft of Cain's blade and the wedding of Screams remain cautionary fables in Eldar culture to this day. Alone among the Eldar gods, Segura survived the fall and escaped the fate of the rest of the pantheon. The story goes that while Slaanesh fought with Kayla Menshi Cain, the Laughing God escaped into the Wedway and hid amongst his myriad tunnels. These tales suggest that he remains there still, unassailable, laughing at the gods of chaos as he hatches bitter plans for revenge. There are those who claim that Segura walks among his children from time to time, wearing the disguise of an anonymous Harlequin player. Whatever the truth of such tales, the Laughing God is the only authority that the Harlequins recognize as they fight their wars and perform their mythic dances across the void. From the moment that Slaanesh burst into being, the soul of every living Eldar was forfeit. Upon the death of the body, an unprotected Eldar soul would be dragged into the warp, and thence to an eternity of hideous torment within the gullet of she who thirsts. The divergent factions of Eldar that survived the fall found ways to avoid this unspeakable fate. The Azuyani of the Croft Wallis developed their spirit stones, beautiful gems that caught the parting soul at the moment of death, and protected it long enough to be released into a Croft Wallis infinity circuit. There the Eldar souls will be preserved so long as the Croft World itself endured. The Exodites practiced a variant of the same strange process, their souls becoming one with the world spirit of their home planet upon their deaths. By comparison, the Drukhar of Kormorah found themselves cursed with an altogether more ghoulish method of self-preservation, forced to feed off the pain and misery of other living beings in order to prevent their own essences being slowly and agonizingly leached away by Slaanesh. The Harlequins require no such spiritual defenses. When a Harlequin falls, Segura instantly snatches their soul away, thus denying Slaanesh his feast. How this can be, and what fate awaits those souls within the grasp of the Laughing God, are secrets the Harlequins have never deigned to share with the rest of their race. Harlequins are able to move across the galaxy by traversing the Webway, the quasi-dimensional creation of the race known as the Old Ones. Via the Webway, these ancient beings could appear from hidden gateways in reality to strike at their foes without warning. Furthermore, this network allowed the Old Ones to voyage between the worlds of their dominion without risking the fickle tides of the warp. Since the destruction of the Old Ones countless millennia ago, the Webway has been the domain of the Eldar. Although other races have made attempts to invade its tunnels, their successes are never lasting, and the costs are always high. Known by some as the Labyrinth Dimension, the Webway has been envisioned by mortal minds in myriad ways. Some describe it as a galactic tapestry of shimmering strands, others a maze of glowing tunnels or the veins of some vast living entity. All such accounts fall short of the truth, for the Webway defies neat categorization. It is an elegantly crafted realm located between real space and the warp, analogous to the surface of a still, dark pool, or a fine silk veil drawn across something indescribably foul. The Webway once spanned the galaxy, even stretching out into the empty void beyond. Those days are long gone. Ravaged by war and catastrophe, many of its tunnels have been torn open or amputated entirely, and a great number of its entrances have been sealed by the Eldar themselves as a desperate measure to defy their foes' access. Despite its degradation, the Eldar still rely upon the Webway for swift travel, and none more so than the nomadic Harlequins. It is said that Segura is the only being in existence who knows every single pathway through the Webway. This might explain how his disciples possess such an intimate knowledge of its twists and turns, for the Harlequins walk the webway without fear, appearing and disappearing at will. So well versed are they in the webway's secret routes that many other Eldar have credited the servants of the Laughing God with supernatural powers. The Harlequins utilize their knowledge of the webway's hidden paths to outmaneuver their foes and strike them from unexpected quarters. In this way, entire masks of Harlequins can position themselves in ambush, guaranteeing the element of surprise. Of course, such a system is not perfect, for the webway has become a broken and dangerous realm. The manifestation of the Great Rift tore at the webway, ripping away spars already weakened by the passage of millennia, and unravelling others, laying them open to the warp. Gates long sealed burst open to admit a legion of nightmares, and malefic chaos worshippers found themselves at liberty to strike at the labyrinth dimension like never before. Since the fall, a crystal tome has rested upon an obstinate plinth at the heart of the Black Library, its covers bound shut by chains of light. As fabled events came to pass, so those chains faded one by one. Shortly before the opening of the Great Rift, the tome fell open at last. Within were revealed writings said to have come from Segura's own hand. Inspiring and terrifying in equal measure, they revealed a final act that changed utterly the tale of the fall. Those words presented a slender hope, and began a galactic performance that the Harlequins strive to see fulfilled. Always the strands of fate had warned that chaos would be victorious during the Rana Dandra, the fabled great battle at the galaxy's ending. Yet the final act promised a new path, Segura's ultimate jest that would trick Slaanesh into expending all her energies, not to destroy the Eldar, but to save them. How such a thing could come to pass remains unclear, but the Harlequins are devoted servants to their god, and they will see the final act performed, no matter the cost. Segura, the eternal jester, now has no choice. He must bring his great dance to fruition. But there has never been a better time. The waking of Iniad has created a new fulcrum of power. Every year more Eldar walk into the webway to become Harlequins, to join the army of Segura. This is known. What is not known is how many Craftworld, Exodite and Drukhari there actually are. How many Eldar walk into the webway each year? Thousands? Tens of thousands? Hundreds of thousands? Or is it millions? The elite of the Eldar. The Harlequin is to the Aspect Warrior, but the Astarte Space Marine is to the Guardsman. The Imperium conquered the galaxy with, some say, 1 million Astartes. Just 1 million. The collected Eldar technology is still formidable. Very. And resources are not an issue when you can sing for whatever you need. But the webway is our true secret, our true power. We uphold it, patrol it, cleanse or close it, but it can be used for war, as the Necrontyr found out to their regret. Now imagine thousands of Harlequins dropping behind enemy lines, appearing on the bridges of their ships, inside their bunker complexes, inside their power plants. Only then do you realize the chaos the Harlequins could cause when roused to war. And they are roused. Roused as they have never been before. So, how many Harlequins are there now? The Harlequins are inarguably some of the most dangerous killers in the galaxy. They laugh at all. The god is amongst them and now ready to lead. They could number in the millions. Only Segura knows. The stage is set. The players positioned. The Rana Dandra begins. For the first time in over 10,000 years, an Eldar pantheon exists again. far from unified, but all bent on one task alone, the defeat of she who thirsts, the dark god the Eldar birthed, Slaanesh. The Eldar ever had 3 as a holy and power number. None can now ignore that the Eldar have 3 gods active. It could well spell the end of the Eldar, expending the light of the Eldar in their triumvirate's quest for salvation. Let us now look at the gods, their heralds, and the heroes that could be center stage in the Psychic Awakening Part 1, The Phoenix Rising. The Eldar Civil War begins.